sky.
Pain has a face. Allow me to show it to you. I am pain.
Good evening, boys, girls, ghosts, ghouls, family, and friends. Welcome to this week's episode of Sacrificial Terror Podcast. Tonight is our 14th episode. I am Sam I Am Mason with the always fabulous and beautiful Miss
Zombie Barbie.
and my brother from another mother, Mr. Incomparable himself.
Lance Wagner.
That's right, baby. Tonight's show is brought to you by Sacrificial Productions and produced by Samantha Wagner and Miss Zombie Barbie. Tonight we have a very special show for you guys. We have the one and only Mr. Paerry Teo, writer, director, producer extraordinaire, with his latest film, The Assent, just finishing post. Paerry, welcome to the show.
We got him too, Paerry.
The dog said hey.
Yeah, he's on cue right now. He's great. Hi, everybody. I'm Paerry Teo. And thank you guys for having me.
Teo, I'm sorry, man. I butcher everybody's name. I'm sorry.
Everybody's, even mine.
So let's talk about The Assent while we're here.
Okay.
Shannon Doherty's going to be in that, correct?
Pardon?
Is Shannon Doherty's going to be in that one?
No, that is actually another project that I worked with her.
I'm getting my
it's
films.
a very, very messy thing.
Okay.
So The Assent is an exorcism film.
Oh.
It's, my new take on exorcisms. And, it stars Rob Kaczynski from Pacific Rim. And what does he do? Well, Rob Kaczynski, he is, great actor. I just loved him in Pacific Rim. That's the one thing I remember him from. We have Peter Jackson as well from, veteran actor from Deadwood. And we also have Tatum O'Neal and a couple of, new other actors involved in it. And it was a very interesting project, very, very hard project to get up and running. It took me literally a year and a half just to get this project going.
Wow.
Just because number one, it's a new original idea, and we, how original ideas are these days. It's like people are not receptive at all to original ideas anymore. Mm-hmm. They want based on a book, they want the Marvel, they want the Disney remakes and all that. Those are the ones making the money. When you're asking artists like us today with the original material, it's getting harder and harder every year. And, that is really unfortunate. But you know what? We're putting up the good fight, right?
Yep.
Absolutely.
We're definitely trying to, and I'm doing the exact same thing with Normal Terror, which we've talked about. You and I were on the LaBAFA, the Long Beach Acting and Film Association panel back in October of last year, Scary and Showbiz. And that was how you and I met. So, it's definitely getting harder and harder to do a whole lot of that stuff.
And again, Sam, when I saw your stuff and all that, I was like, one part of me was, really impressed by what I saw and your work and all that. But the other part of me was like, I just can't help feeling that, sense of almost dejection. Like here you got really talented guys, with and the people you surround yourself with, but yet, you're not given the accelerated chance to get things like this made, as opposed to somebody who's got the book rights of something, and who probably has no clue about how to make a film or anything at all. And these are the guys that are, pumping out all the stuff, and we're sitting here like, well, what about the guys that actually know how to make films that they're not just getting stuff out to make money, they're actually passionate about their subject. And you're seeing it less and less these days because, I've been in executives room, you name it. I've, from CAA, and I better not name all the other guys because I'm still you see them in the decision-making process that they're in, and it's very, sometimes, you just feel like, man, I just wish you can just see these guys. I wish that we could go back to an era where, original films, like the good old 80s, where they're just cranking out these original films, new ideas and all that, that was great, anywhere from Fright Night to The Thing. Yes. Those were really, really original, great, amazing films, and people were willing to take gambles. Today, nobody takes gambles anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, that is absolutely true. And you and I have talked in private before about, especially this area. And I've had a lot of talks with other filmmakers and people that I know in the industry. And one of the biggest things that we find is difficult is that a lot of people are calling themselves filmmakers, but there's a difference between making and putting out films and actually being a filmmaker. Mm-hmm. And that's one of the difficulties that I'm having is that, not a whole lot of people know who I am yet, but, I also have to look back and, I understand that I have to pay my dues as a filmmaker. I have to put in the work. I'm not just going to have everything handed to me, regardless of how good my story is. Nobody knows who the fuck I am yet. So, until I get something out there and people are like, wow, it's going to be difficult for, for guys like me. Some of my other, social media friends and people in the industry that I know, to get these kinds of things done, especially with original story, because Hollywood just doesn't do it anymore.
I agree with you. It's a sad reality, but you know what? I understood this reality, and I'm in the film industry, and despite what's happened or what is happening, I'm still here, and I will continue to be because that is my promise to my passion, and I'm sure that is your promise to your passion as well. But yes, I get the whole irritation thing where, somebody $10,000 with a little handycam and with one, I don't know, $20 light they bought at Amazon, and they just stick it behind the camera and they're like, I'm a filmmaker, I'm rolling camera. There's like some dialogue and you're like, what the heck is going on? What's, storytelling journeys, getting in the mind of people. That is a very, very lost art in these days with independent filmmakers, because it seems like a lot of people are chasing the prestige, what I call the quickies, the quick prestige, just so that they can have some red carpet and all that. People watching film, nobody knows what's going on, but they're the red carpet. Everybody's like, I love this. It's great, because nobody has the balls to come out and say, dude, get some training, learn storytelling, learn effects. Ketchup is not the way to go. That's just a clump of clay. Like, get a static, you know how to blend it. All this kind of thing. You've seen it. You're laughing because you've seen it.
Dude, especially recently, man, I've watched some movies and I'm just like, how the fuck is this even out? How did this get distributed? Because, and don't get me wrong, I think everybody out there that has a passion for doing this and wants to make movies should. But I also think that not everything should be distributed, no matter how fucking, You can't just throw 1,000 things out into any world to run the festival circuit and expect all of them to be good. You can't. Not everybody has that talent or that skill, and that's okay. They're still creating. They're still learning. But they have to, at some point in time, go back to the roots of where it all started, and it started with story. It started with cinematography, and it started with talent. You can't visual effects everything. You can't fix it in post. You can't, do all this shit that everybody does.
I also think a lot of problems, people think that they can fake it, and to them it looks kind of like as long as it, everyone's doing it, I can do it, kind of thing. And you're like, and I'll tell you a really interesting thing. I'll tell you guys a story about my first short film I ever made. It's called Liberata, and I had no idea how to do effects. I had no idea how to do blood. I had no idea how to do anything, for that matter of fact. But I knew that that there were certain things in my script that I wrote. By the way, it was on a McDonald's napkin.
Nice.
It was. I drew a line right down the middle of a McDonald's napkin, and it said what people said and what people do. That's it. Mm-hmm. And so one of the scene was, I wanted to do it, and by that time, Sam, I had no idea what prosthetics are, tubes, and everything are.
Right.
But I knew that
ribs and all that shit. Yeah.
He had a tattoo on his arm. Actually, it's the same tattoo that I have here. Mm-hmm. And it's a Virgin Mary crucified on a cross and Jesus praying under her. Right. And this guy was a heroin addict, and he was supposed to shoot up in his veins, and it was supposed to go right in the eye. And when he pulls the thing out, the blood was supposed to flow out. That would have been easy for you, Sam. You would have known, okay, I got you to do that, squeeze it out, no problem, okay? Right. I didn't know about that, but I wasn't using ketchup. I went up to my actor, and I said, his name is Leighton Matthews, and I said, can we just do it for real? And he was like, sure, why not? And I said, okay, so the whole idea is that you have to pull out, pump out the whole thing. So when you yank out the needle, the blood's going to start flowing for real. And he's like, okay, great. So we did 4 takes.
Oh my gosh.
And it couldn't, it didn't work. And then he turned to me and he's like, Paerry, I'm left-handed. So I was like, oh. It's like, I just can't seem to find my vein. There was air pockets blowing up on his arm. Yeah. And we didn't even think about stopping at that point. And we finally I said, do you trust me to do it? I'll put on your.
Yeah.
I'll just shoot you up. Wow. Yeah, you know what? Fuck it, let's do it. So we did it finally, and it looked fantastic. And it was one of those things that I really, really loved about making my first short film, where I was surrounded by artists who were like, if we don't know how to fake it, let's not do a shitty effect. Let's do it for real. We literally bleed ourselves. We had my first short film was about a guy who tattoos an Ouija board on his back. Mm-hmm. And again, I had no makeup artist, and we sharpied the thing on his back. And I looked at it, I was like, that doesn't look like a real tattoo, man. And he's like, why? I was like, it's not red. Yeah. You would know, you just put some blush, and boom, you get the red effect. Well, we didn't know that. So we just slapped the shit out of it.
Oh, shit.
It looked red enough. And we were like,
wow.
All right, quick. Let's shoot it right now.
Do it, shoot it now.
Yeah. So his name was Leighton Matthews. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, action. He actually had a small role in my first feature, and also one of the lead roles on my second feature. He's a guy I still talk to, I still work with, now he's a writer and director himself. Wow. But we had a lot of fun, and our principal thing was, if you don't know how to fake it, do it for real. And that's how I see it. And all the blood on my first film that you saw was all real. Wow. And so sometimes when I see people do something, I'm kind of like, you can always do it for real. They're like, what are you talking about? Like, right. And I was like, yeah, just do it. Just cut him up. I mean,
Oh, wow.
my fiance and me, we have a little vow. I still hold on to her blood. She holds on to mine. It's like, it's
Wow.
blood, for crying out loud. I think she's a great actress. And, personally for me, I'm not just saying that because she's like, actually it's the other way. Like, I do not like, you could be a really attractive person, but if your talents are crap, I don't find you attractive at all.
Right.
But the opposite works for me. I love talent. I love passion. Those things attract me to a person. Diane to me has all of that, and well, thank goodness she's gorgeous too. And so that helps. She's photogenic. She's a great singer. She's a great actress. She's very multi-talented. And if I was working with this filmmaker once who I said, look, I will help you raise the money for your film if Diane's the lead in it. And when the script came back, it was like she was a little bit here, a little bit here, a little bit there, but scattered through the whole film. And I'm like, nah, that's not what it is. He's like, let me tell you something, Paerry. She's the lead because everybody's talking about her and because she's through the whole film. And I'm like, don't tell me how I decide what a lead is or how a story works, But regardless, whatever I can do to help Diane, as long as it doesn't waste her talent, to me that's the best part. It's kind of like you, Sam. When we talk about a project, I'm like, don't waste your talent, man. Like, just explore it. Just go out. It sucks when things have to be compromised for it, and that's just not the way I do it. And maybe sometimes I do things and it takes a little bit longer than usual, but in the end, what matters is we get it done right, And
that's what I'm dealing with on Normal Terror right now. Is that I haven't had the budget to do it the way I want, so I've been holding off, and and we're getting back on set, the 17th of August. And we're going to get some stuff shot and, get going because we have a couple of deals that are closing pretty soon. And we should have budget enough to get the stuff that we need. So, we're getting there. But again, like you and I talked before, I'm not going to compromise the quality of what I'm doing, or what I'm going to be putting out there, for any reason. If it takes me a little bit longer, okay, I'm not really happy about it, but I'll do what I got to do.
Yeah, and you know what? If it's another 6 months, so be it. But, as long as, I think one of the most powerful things about us as humans and how we differ from animals, like, I'm not going to say thinking and compassion, because sometimes I think dogs are smarter than us and they feel better.
Yeah.
But where we differ from animals, what makes us unique as human beings is the ability to see into the future. What makes us unique from animals is that we can conceive of something and we can create it.
Mm-hmm.
No other animal in the animal kingdom can do that. They cannot think something in the future and conceive it and create it. We can. We're creators, and I think that you not compromising your vision, you creating what was originally in your head is a celebration of, our blessings as human beings. And I think that's special. So, kudos to you. Keep doing it. Don't, just because somebody waits and say, hey, you can do it right now, but you have to do this and this and this. Don't do it. Just
Make it the best you can make it. Absolutely, where you're real happy with it, because it's like your child. I think I've talked to them about that before. Is like I see you guys making like your children, and it's like you're wanting to make the best thing you can possibly make, and that's what I don't like when people shit on something I like, and it's like we'll just agree to disagree on that. But I try to find the good stuff in all the movies. You know what I mean? And some people they I can see exactly what you're talking about, Paerry. You can see stuff rushed. You can see the ketchup. But I still try to find, okay, that's 10% of the movie that I don't like. Let me find the good 90%. It's got to be over here somewhere. So I'm trying to look for the good stuff in all the movies.
Yeah, and I'm sure that, even your favorite movie of all time, there are a lot of people who hate it.
Exactly. Absolutely. Absolutely.
You know, my favorite movie of all time, I tattooed it on my entire back, is The Crow. And
Oh, yes.
And
Yes.
you had Baleen, what's her name? Oh,
I had it on my first.
yes,
picture.
yes.
Yeah,
I saw that on IMDb, and I was like, that is, because that's one of my favorites.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
Oh, she is great.
That was a great role for her.
She was fantastic, yeah. And she was one of the few that believed in me in the early, in my early days. She saw a couple of my shorts. She saw my design schemes and she believed in me. So God bless her. And there were a lot of people who really, really got on board. With this whole idea of me doing that first feature, because it really was my whole career. Really started out so different. It started out as a fluke. I don't even know how I ended up here being a director, because I never wanted to be.
Wow.
I wanted to be a fashion designer. So
wow.
Oh, wow.
That's crazy.
I still design all my clothes to this day. In my
You said something about that, didn't you,
That's
Zombie?
cool.
About
Are you designing clothes?
movie, no, the one that the movie you watched earlier.
Oh, The Curse of Sleeping Beauty.
Yeah,
Yes, I loved her clothing.
Yeah, it's fantastic. The actress hates it because it looks gorgeous, but once you put it on, you can't sit down, you can't bend.
Oh, yeah.
We had high stools where she could only lean, and once she got into it, it was like, it was a torture. But that was a very fun project to do.
And her headpiece,
very interesting. Josh Nadler wrote it, and me and Christopher Pearson, we really came out with this whole. He was a music video director of photography, and I love his work. He's just genius. And so I started coming up with all these crazy ideas for him, and we started doing things in that movie that, people would look at and go, "Oh man, you must be crazy." I mean, we were modifying film lenses for that movie, and then having to put it back into the original thing before giving it back to the rental company.
Wow.
Because everything we did, all the effects, short of a couple of smoke effects, they were all done practically. All the schizophrenic things.
I liked that.
Which I actually evolved into the Assent. In the Assent, you're going to see some of that effects from Sleeping Beauty. That's a little bit more evolved. For some weird reason, I had this complete fascination for modifying lenses and creating effects on camera to actually see what a schizophrenic person and how they hallucinate.
Right.
And I believe that part of the hallucination also comes from distortion of light and all that. So we really took the time to break apart certain lenses just to do that. And that was really, really fun, really dangerous, because if anything breaks, you're talking $100,000. And
yeah.
So we were super careful, but in the Assent, the guy was directly suffering from schizophrenia, and we did so many things in that film. Sam, as you know, I also do have a doctorate, and and I study people's psychology. I'm interested in madness and dementia. And to actually portray that on film practically was something that in the Assent was really, really explored, because the whole idea as well is that I when I want people to see the Assent, during the exorcism, that the whole time that the audience is questioning, is this person really possessed by a demon?
Right.
Gotcha. Actually schizophrenic and crazy. And I think that debate is still going on in today's world. And yeah, there are a lot of cases in exorcisms where schizophrenia, mental illness, does play a huge part in it. But at what point is it not? At what point is it demonic? At what point, are things not explained? And So yeah,
Right.
then I go back to religion, Bible, blah blah blah, Abaddon, biome, kind of thing. It's really fun. I
When can we expect that one, Perry?
well, the film is finished, and we just submitted it to our distributor. So we're just working. I cannot reveal it yet,
Okay.
but it will be a theatrical film.
Okay,
And
cool.
We're just awaiting for them to give us their release strategy right now.
Okay.
Right.
We will definitely go see it.
The cinematography is beautiful.
That was badass. They said from the producers of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
That
Which
was
one would that be?
Denver.
Which one would that be? Which chainsaw?
The Millennium Media ones.
Okay.
Yeah, the ones, and then I was also the co-producer of Day of the Dead for Millennium as well.
Gotcha. Okay.
Wow. And
So
that's
that
going
was
to be
interesting. We had to go to Bulgaria to shoot that, and
wow, Bulgaria?
Yeah.
Dang.
That's
so
cool.
that was really fun. That was really fun, and I helped them, kind of get the film up and running and on speed. And it was, really fun times working with those guys because I worked with them for a really, really long time. Even back in my days of Gene Generation, I was in Bulgaria as well. So it was nice to kind of go back in and actually shoot something with them.
Mhm.
And, these guys in Bulgaria, they were completely insane, just like me,
Nice.
We were talking about, stunts from zombies and all that. And sometimes the crazy part is that we would do stuff and then it would get censored because it's too much kind of thing.
Mhm.
Oh wow.
Even for the Assent, a big thing that was cut out because the producers really did feel like it was too much. I think I agree with them. Was the demon Abaddon. He was crawling around and he held an inverted cross, and the inverted cross had it was impaled over Jesus' decapitated head.
Oh.
Wow.
We created it so that the actor could actually use the animatronic inside and make the mouth scream and move and all that as well. And we did feel, once we looked at it, that it just touched too much personal strings,
Right.
And so we decided.
People are real touchy about that shit.
Yeah.
If anybody wants to use the prop, I'll
Nice.
just to be seen on camera. It'll be fun.
There you go.
So it's taken completely out of the movie?
It's completely out of the movie. Yeah.
Oh. Dang. That's
But I love blasphemous things like that. Even though I'm a Christian, so
Mhm.
it's a funny world I live in.
All right.
Yeah. Gosh.
That's
That
awesome.
looks good. The set is pretty too, like the house that they're in and all the pictures on the walls and
Yeah, the pictures on the wall was done by an artist called Emil Melmoth, and
I've heard that name.
Yeah, he has this insane art. Like when I saw it, I was like blown away, and I called him and I said, "Hey, I need to use your artwork in my film. Put it on the walls." And I got no hablo English, and I was like, so I had to call somebody in my crew. I was like, email him, and my production is like, hey, I know somebody, so we emailed him and we got a permission, and he has some insane artwork. It was crazy just to see some of it, and I was so honored that he would allow me to show it because it's such a compliment. And the house itself as well, it was never shot before. It was a rundown house, no power, no nothing. And my locations manager called me and said, "Paerry, you might want to see this house. I know you." He's worked with me for like 8 years, so he knows my style. He's like, "You got to kind of see the weird house." And so we went to this house, and there would be like bathrooms with viewing rooms, like viewing windows,
like a two-way mirror.
Yeah, and then there'll be like 2 living rooms, kitchen with a stairs that leads up to the wall. And the upstairs has like 5 bedrooms but 1 bathroom. And So it was just like a really weird design, and wherever, once you go to location scouting and you're using your camera to just kind of get a feel of this house, I realized that everywhere I pointed my camera, I feel like I was in a different house. Like it had this very whimsical labyrinth kind of quality about it.
Oh, cool.
And I said, okay, let's take it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And one day, my production designer came and said, Paerry, I figured out what this house is. And I was like, what? He's like, come on over. So he brought me to each door. And he said, well, because they're painting the doors to the color specifications I want. And, each room had their own color scheme and all that. That's why I had it painted to a certain design and all that.
Mm-hmm.
But he said, as I was painting, I realized something. Look at this. Like, there's like little etchings on them. And I'm looking closer and I'm seeing numbers. And he's like, dude, we're in an illegal brothel that's been shut down. And I'm like, oh my goodness, this is great.
Fuck, dude.
And then you realize, you have one bathroom for 4 rooms.
Right.
And then the bathrooms, there is a viewing window that you can just walk in and like see people showering, I guess, like
right.
weird shit. And I was like, 2 living rooms. Now that makes sense. One is maybe where the girls congregate or something like that. But we turn it into a normal house that is dad and son live in. So
That's awesome.
Yeah, it looks beautiful in the trailer.
Yeah.
Really
it is. It's surprising what a little paint job can do, and a couple of Joker-like M18s. I'm a believer of less is more. Well, actually, my production design more is better, but my lighting less is more is better. It's funny how it's the opposite. What I hate about movies, and my one rule, and if you've watched any movie I've done, or should I say any movie I directed, I have one rule, and that rule is there's no lights behind the camera.
Oh.
Okay.
And the reason why is I always felt like it gave such a stagey kind of lighting. Everybody's all lit well. And that's not real. Like, especially if you're making horror movies, you want to kind of feel like the audience. I always put the audience in the dark, like in a corner of the room, like watching through windows, cabinets, things like that. It's almost like maybe the audience, I feel, is a little bit like me. Not only is it a voyeur, but there is also that sense that maybe you are one of those creatures in the dark too. A lot of the times the audience is like, the face is right in front of the actor and all that, which, yes, you need it. But I like to put audiences in different ways of looking at a scene. And sometimes we may be the boogeyman, because I always had this weird idea that, what if, sometimes you wake up, you think somebody's watching you. Mm-hmm. And sometimes I'm like, yeah, what if the audience was watching me from the dark, I don't know, some, what was that Jim Carrey film?
The Truman Show?
Oh,
Truman
yeah.
Show, yeah. What if it was some weird, dark Truman Show kind of thing, and I'm not in it? Sometimes my mind goes there. And I guess that kind of goes into my directing. I like to put the audience in weird places. Awesome. And to almost observe the characters where it's unconventional for most directors, where they do the wide shot, you do the mediums, and you do the close-ups. In my case, I'm like, where can we sit and look as though we're the boogeyman? Mm-hmm. What secrets can we find from these actors, Mm-hmm. And so a lot of the placing of the cameras comes from personal thoughts, personal likes, dislikes about things. And I have very little practical lights, as you can see in my movies, and they light the inside. But then I'll have one strong light, like a Joker, like an M18 light coming in from the outside. Right. That kind of gives that shafty kind of Blade Runner kind of feel.
Yeah.
I love in the Crow and Blade Runner. Those are like my, and Seven, brilliant lighting. Like every film I go, if I meet a new DP, I'm like, go watch Seven, come back and let's discuss it. Because I think Seven's lighting is phenomenal.
How about that? The Seven
well,
reference.
Yeah.
It was good.
And not just the lighting, but I think the coloring that was done in post added so much to it, because it had, you really think it was very little?
very little because I hate it when people put too much effects in post-production and it looks like it's so processed, like you can tell it's treated. So actually what I do is the color scheme that I have two things. I have a color scheme, I have a thematic theme. Like, for example, the kids from the theme is owl and all that. But I also have a color scheme, and colors psychologically affects us in different ways. So every prop that you see, every paint, every wall, every light has been carefully chosen. And so once we get into post-production, we're not really putting in new colors. We're actually just adjusting, things.
Yeah, just a little
Right.
Yeah. So whatever you can do on set, the more time you got to plan for all this kind of things, that is what you want to be doing. Anybody that tells me fix it in post, I cringe,
No, and I absolutely hate that too. But like what I'm talking about is like when they were outside and they had that kind of sepia vintage tone.
Are you talking about 7 though?
Yeah.
Because I think he was talking about Assent. Like they didn't.
No, right. But I led into the conversation with like he was talking about the lighting in 7.
Oh. Okay.
And so what I was talking about was, how they added the exterior shots with the same color scheme that they kind of carried throughout the entire film. And from my perspective, I thought it was done more in post than it was on set, because I have a hard time seeing how they would add that vintage feel to an exterior shot. Does that make sense?
A lot of things have to do with also the treatment of your LUTs on cameras.
Right.
And you are definitely going to treat it for sure. But what you don't want to do is you don't want to affect the skin tones of the the actor, and that's why we pay so much attention to the props colors, the wall colors and all that. Because even though we want a blue look, we don't want the actor's skin to look like they're blue, kind of thing like that. So if you actually notice when you're watching the trailer, all the actors' skin look normal. It was the backgrounds that look almost weird. So you're almost placing characters into weird locations and all that. Now, on a bigger budget film, some guy probably can get paid $50,000 just to rotoscope the actors and do it frame by frame. And we don't have that kind of money. So instead of money to spend, what we do is we put in the time in the planning, in our pre-production, so that we'll be ready by the time that we're going to finish our film. And when money is low, obviously.
Yeah.
Right.
Money's going to be low. You're going to be broke at the end of the film.
Right.
So you're just going to have to plan for how you can keep up your broke ass,
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Planning how to make ramen noodles at the end.
I love ramen noodles.
Dude, I had a ramen burger today.
I don't know what to think. I don't know what to think about it. I just know.
That doesn't sound very good.
Yeah, it was different. It was all right, but yeah, it was definitely different. So
kudos to you for that, man.
It doesn't sound very good.
I want to make sure that Paerry knew I did watch Ghost Hunters and I loved it. That was a fun movie.
Oh my goodness, that was a crazy film.
The practical effects.
That was actually funny because I did it for 2 people that I'm not gonna name. But they wanted to get a feature film on their belt. And Asylum came up to me and said, "Hey, we got a film. Can you do it for 11 days?" And I'm like, "All right. What do you want to do?" And they're like, "Well, why don't we? Can you do something like Ghostbusters and all that?" I was like, I can't do comedy. My sense of comedy is really foul, and I don't think a lot of people, So I was like, it's not what you're thinking, but I can do a horror if you want, like, hunting ghosts and all that. So they gave me a general idea and said, "Hey, can you write a script for it?" I was like, "Sure, when do you need it?" They were like, 4 days.
Wow.
All right.
Goodness.
And so I just sat there for 4 days, cranked it out, and pre-production was only 2 weeks, and then we had 11 days to shoot it. And the crew were amazing, you know, and we, for a low-budget film like that, what it allowed me to do was allowed me to experiment. It allowed me to experiment with different cameras, different camera styles, work, treatments, and all that I personally wouldn't do on a bigger budget film.
Okay.
You know, we were using night vision cameras as you as you saw. And, you know, just also understanding, you know, I was actually experimenting with flashlights and how to use flashlights with smoke and all that kind of stuff. So it was a really fun experimental film to do. It was.
Dude, I'm so sorry. When you said flashlight, I thought you said fleshlight. I was like, because you were like this, and I was like,
he's gonna go there every time, Paerry. He's gonna go there every time.
Have just let me talk and flashlight picture over me. And just let me go. You should have just done that.
oh, dude, that's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, hell, the last couple of episodes we've done, we talked a shit ton about dicks, so we might as well talk about some fleshlights.
Yeah. There's the 2 or 3 right there.
Actually, do you guys actually know a person who's tried it?
I have not.
What?
Do you guys know?
Do we know anybody who's tried a fleshlight?
Guys
Not
at work
that
talk about it all the
admitted.
time. Yeah, nobody will admit it, but people talk about it.
Like, I always hear the word, but I don't know if anybody actually really has one, or I haven't really asked them though.
There's a lot of freaks out
Well,
there.
maybe you should ask.
I'm gonna ask my boss. We always fuck with him all the time
Yeah.
about stuff and be like, hey, have you ever tried this?
And that's the funny shit though, is a lot of people will talk about it, but they won't like actually admit to using one or having one.
Right.
That's yeah. Do you have one, Sam?
I do not.
I don't.
I think all you have to do is just go look in their Amazon history and you'll see it.
Right?
Don't you?
Yeah, look at the ads that pop up on their social media.
Yeah, like you're scrolling like, why
Yeah, what is this?
suggested items on your Facebook, right?
That's right.
That Facebook thing gets to me, man. It's so crazy how good you are.
Now we're gonna have
good.
flashlights popping up everywhere.
Right?
Yep.
God
All
damn
over the
it.
place.
Damn it, Lance.
We'll have
Before the
ads.
flashlight comes up.
Oh. All right, guys, and with that, I think we need to go ahead and start closing it out. So what we're going to do at this part of the show is we give everybody a minute to give their special shout-outs and thank anybody who's helped them along the way, anybody who they want to mention, anything they want to promote, or anything like that. So is there anybody you want to give a special shout-out to before we end it?
Me?
Yeah.
Sure. You know, one of the persons working so hard for me right now is my agent, Italia. I want to give a shout out to her. She's been working so hard, you know, pushing my new ideas, and, you know, late at nights getting calls from me when I have stupid ideas and all that, and actually listening to me. She's amazing. When it comes to that, like, and, you know, sometimes my ideas are stupid, but hey, it's all about getting it out. But she's been great, and when she knows something's going on, she'll, you know, she has this great game plan, great battle plan for me, and you know, I always said that an agent needs to, you know, work 10% as hard as you, but she really works as hard as me, and so I want to give a shout out to her. Like, really, none of this could have happened without her. She's just amazing.
That's awesome.
You know, and that's my professional life. You know, personal life, of course, you know, Diane, who really allows me to sit here and just work and write and just focus on my writing.
I'm a fan. I'm a fan too, so make sure she knows that.
I will let her know that. You know what? I'm sure she'll see this. So
I hope so.
yeah, she has been great. She's been making sure that, you know, the times that I need to focus, she helps me around, you know, with things around here just so I can focus.
Awesome.
and especially she's such a talented person. It's like sometimes I feel bad too, like why am I making her do this? But I need to thank her for this, because there are a lot of things in today in my script, and there's a lot going on in my life right now. I feel like I can't focus if it wasn't for her.
Cool.
So really, and my son also for helping me out on the Assent. That was really nice of him. He came down to shoot some stuff with me, and then he got to see how we do shadow plays. I literally used him as a human, a human flag. Like, how the light is too spread out, you flag it so people don't focus. I used his body for that kind of shit.
Wow.
So he was a human flag, really. And the guy was a trooper. The guy was a real trooper. He dipped his hands in blood, got all sticky for me.
Oh, wow.
He was great. But other than that, no, I don't. I really don't have much friends in my life. I'm stuck in the cabin, and I love my work. And
What about your projects coming up?
My projects coming up. My latest project is Medusa. I am doing a feature-length version of Medusa.
That's right. I saw you working on that.
Yeah, in all its action, in all its fantasy, and can I say feminist glory?
Say whatever you want.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
This is our show.
Yeah.
We don't censor shit on this, dude.
Yeah.
Fuck everybody if they don't like it.
I mean, it's a story about anybody that knows the story of Medusa knows that she was raped by Poseidon,
Mm-hmm.
and then Poseidon raped her in Athena's temple, and Athena was pissed that such an act was, committed into her temple, so she cursed Medusa from a woman into the snake head.
The creature.
And I'm sitting there going, wow, this opens up so much, this opens up like rage, and all that. But it's such a great story, and it took me a long time to figure out how to bring together the ending. Everybody knows how it ends. Perseus cuts her head off.
Right.
But how to bring it together to make it more satisfying, and I think I did.
Nice.
Nice.
So, but
Yeah.
Medusa is something that I'm very excited about. We've done concept artwork. We are talking to the studios right now. Everybody who's read it loves it, and so we've been very excited. I'm lucky that that project's at a point where me and my agent are actually choosing the right person for it right now, versus having to chase down the money. So,
right.
Exciting times ahead. But for this next 2 weeks, I'm just gonna focus on making sure the kids are gonna get to school.
Oh,
Nice.
shit, yeah.
Yeah.
Good deal,
About
brother.
that time.
Getting close.
So
I know.
again, guys, thank you so much for having me. It's it's great to have to talk with you guys. Let me ramble on.
I could listen to
we
you for
love it.
hours. I feel like I learned
But
so
also,
much.
this is not just your normal interview where I have to be like,
Yeah. No.
nice. Hey, let's have fun. Let's have a drink, and let's talk. And
Well, and I think that's one thing that's a little bit different about us that most of our followers and our fans and our guests is that we have a much more open format to where, we pretty much do whatever the hell we want. And, we're just a few family members sitting down bullshitting at a barbecue.
yeah,
And talking
Lance,
about the
I
thing
still
we
gotta
love the
say,
most.
Killer background. And
His is awesome.
I love your little coffin. Is that a frame? Is that the coffin?
Me, right here?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a little light up frame. It lights up.
Oh my goodness, that's amazing.
Awesome.
Anyway, I love that.
I love it.
You guys are the best decoration. This is a really boring part of my house now. But
Mine's not much better, brother. I
Lance
haven't
is
gotten my studio together
putting us
yet.
all
so.
to shame.
I know. We're jealous every time
He
we
does
see it.
every week.
He's got everything. It's awesome.
I need more. I need more.
I know.
I almost guarantee you could name something and Lance has something related to it. Doesn't matter what it is.
It'd be close.
Yeah, almost pulling stuff out. We're
So,
like, oh.
Yeah.
right?
Well,
No.
before we go, can I ask Lance something? Like your collection, right?
Yes, sir.
How do you feel about having this amazing collection behind you right now?
It's
And knowing that the world is going all digital.
that's why I'm. My wife knows that I take a lot of pride in it, and I'm. But you can ask these two right here. I'm anti-pirate. I don't. People are gonna do what they're gonna do. I can't change the world, but I know I have for my big example. I'll say is there's a Simpsons collection over there that you cannot see an episode about because something controversial happened. You can never see it again on streaming services, but I have it right there. And then this movie right over here might get banned, and this movie might go over here get banned. But guess what? I have it.
Mm-hmm.
So if you can't find it, I'm gonna have it.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know. And I'm telling you, Paerry, I'm gonna have all your movies. Oh, don't worry. You'll have a bunch of movies represented up there.
I think just by knowing you for this short time, I think the movie you're gonna love the most is Necromancer.
Okay.
Necromancer was my second film that I made.
That's your okay.
And it is all about, well, it almost tells like three different stories, but all three different stories, short films, they all link together.
Gotcha.
At the end, some people say it's Pulp Fiction. I hate it when I say that.
Okay.
But it's, ultimately the story, it came from my first short film where it's all about a guy whose wife died, and he wants to carve in a Ouija board on his body in order to communicate with her.
Oh,
And
wow.
ends up going into hell.
Wow. Okay.
But we have like hallucination scenes that were like super crazy. In fact, we have this thing called Mr. Skinny,
Okay.
and it was a guy. This was pre-Saw days. A guy with a pig's mask over him with clown makeup, barbed wire around him. He was an obese guy.
Wow.
And he basically came out of TVs and sings songs to children to convince them to kill their parents.
Oh.
And when he
I love
sang,
that.
I decided to make it fun, so you had a little karaoke ball.
Okay. Awesome.
There's a sing-along in it. There's a horror
Okay.
sing-along in it.
That is
about
awesome.
Oh my God, that's
suicide
fucking awesome.
and all that.
That is awesome.
Totally inappropriate in today's world. But it's it convinced a little handicapped kid to disembowel
Oh.
babysitter and use the intestines to hang himself.
Oh my gosh.
And
We need to see
you're
that.
gonna love it. It's a really fun movie. It's got the biggest cult out of all my movies. It's got the biggest cult following.
Okay. I'm all over it.
Nice.
We
All
had
over it.
people
I
in
wanna
gas
watch it.
masks. We had another thing called Red Room, which was a girl who, you see her tied up in the beginning of the film. And actually, we used the prop from Necromancer in the Assent, this cross,
Okay.
cross lights, and she is getting sliced, sliced open, and she's getting cut. Blah, blah, blah. And it's a great torture scene. And then at the end, just as he takes a cleaver up, you hear this sound, and he stops, and the girl stops, and she reaches down and pulls out her checkbook and signs it.
Oh.
So, little things like that. I think Necromancer was really a Travis. It's this weird anthology thing that got into my head. And I really had fun doing it. If you really want to know what's in my head, that will be the
Yeah. Where can we find it?
I'm sure you can still find it somewhere, like Amazon. I never keep track of my movies. I don't read reviews of my movies. None of them.
Very smart. Very smart.
Yeah,
Yeah.
too depressing.
We'll find it.
Yeah,
Definitely. We
but
will definitely have
you'll meet. There is definitely a. There was definitely a audience for it. Like people, it became its own cult film. And we shot it again. My whole thing shot it in different styles and all that, yellow greenish look kind of thing. And I shot it all in my hometown. So
okay.
in Tucson, Arizona.
Wow.
Nice.
All right.
Oh,
So Lionsgate
right
gave me
on.
they gave me the permission to just go up there, just do whatever you want. And I came back with this really quirky, crazy horror film. And since then, everybody's all my distributors. I always wanted to make a part 2 for it. Everybody's always asking me to make a part 2 for it, but all my finances were like, culturally, it's amazing. Money-wise, not today. You just met too many people in that process.
Gotcha.
So I'm like, okay, what can you do? It's the PC era. Everybody's offended about something.
That's right.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
We talk about that.
Yeah, we're not worried about that. I give a fuck. So,
So we're gonna
all
watch
right,
it.
guys, who wants to go first and give their shout outs?
Lance.
Me?
Lance,
You always have your
hit
list.
it up, brother.
Real quick. Lansdale, L2, David Martin. Oh, L2 met Tom Atkins and Candyman. I'm blanking.
Tony Todd.
Tony Todd.
Thank you. Met him today. I thought that was
Nice.
cool. Let's see. So Thad Timothy, Damon Williams, Daryl Hook, C.W. Penny, Tyann Draco, James Blankenship, Scott Williamson. Check out the IMDb's of Tamara Glenn, Jen Nagel, Kevin Caliber Thompson, and Jake Zelch. Thank you, Chris Atella, for the music. Matthew Price Thompson from MPT Graphics with all of our awesome artwork. And I'm going to try it. Here we go. You ready?
Yep.
Ittai and Asaf from My Indie Productions.
Nice. Bravo, brother.
And then I want to thank my beautiful wife, Samantha Wagner, for all that she does for us, especially me. And I am done, diddly done.
Nice. All right, baby girl, you're up.
Popular right now.
Oh man. So I want to thank Matthew Price Thompson as well for our awesome artwork. He does it every week for us, and he's just absolutely incredible. Chris Atella as well for doing our intro and outro music. I love it. He made it easy to get it into our intro and outro. I'm not going to try the names. So My Indie Productions as well. They put stuff up every single week for us, which is awesome. I also want to thank Aaron Lee with Crazy Ink Publishing, who I now have 3 books coming out, I believe, this October.
Wow.
Yeah, so I just got word yesterday. I think one's, I don't know how much I'm allowed to say, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be around Halloween. So
Awesome.
Nice.
and
That's
Diana
crazy.
Register.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And then Diana Register for bringing me to Crazy Ink.
The non-sale watcher.
Yeah.
Right?
Still hasn't
I know,
watched
I
it. She's
still
like,
want my
I'm not
fucking
going to
book
fucking watch it
report.
because they keep telling me to watch it.
So, all right, guys. I would like to thank Paerry. Paerry, thank you so much
Thank
for
you,
being on
Paerry.
here. It's
Thank
a
you.
pleasure and an honor to have you a part of the show and to be in social contact with you on a regular basis. Anytime I have questions, you've always been there, and I appreciate you reaching out and and connecting with me. From LaBafa. So thank you to LaBafa for having me on the Scary and Showbiz show last year, as a guest speaker. I want to thank my team at Sacrificial Productions, my executive producer, Eve Gray, and all the work that she's doing to try and get this thing funded. The ideas and the contests and, all of my cast and my crew and, and everything that we're doing, trying to get Normal Terror made and trying to get it out. We got a lot of stuff coming on. We have a new contest that's out. We had some winners from the Normal Terror victim name contest. William Glenn Russell, David Martin, Jack Saint are the men's names, and the women's names are, and I'm going to butcher the shit out of this, so I apologize twice. Dina Marie Wint, Michelle Rangel, Lisa Sickles, Veronica Viviana Hernandez, and Deanna Kalbfleisch are going to be the victims' names in Normal Terror. And there's a new contest out, so go and check out the post that I made. You have 2 weeks to put it out there and try and get in on the new contest. So I'm selecting 25 winners, and Matthew Price Thompson does all of our artwork. He's actually got some new stuff in store for us, so we're getting ready for some new artwork. which is going to be fucking awesome. And yeah, thank you guys for being on the show, being my co-hosts, and making this beautiful music together. So I love you guys, and until next time.
And just remember, pain is temporary, film is forever.
That's right.
Yes.
That's right.
Yes.
Awesome.
All right. Thank you.
And with that,